Hey there guys, so I wanted to make a video today that would hopefully help explain this whole idea or think about this concept that humans are descended from monkeys, which I've told you before, humans are not descended from monkeys. It's a common misconception that we are. When we go to the zoo and we see the monkeys in the cages and people are thinking about evolution and they're like, I just don't think that humans are descended from them, because if humans were descended from monkeys, why are there still monkeys? How did humans come from monkeys and then also there are still monkeys? Well, we're going to talk about how that works, why it's a misconception. We're going to talk about what the correct way to think about it is, and yeah, hopefully clear some things up there for you. I'm trying to make this a shorter video. I know that last week I went kind of over, made some longer ones, so let's jump right in and get going here. So, first off, I want to talk about this. So, this is a little family tree. This is a little snippet of my family tree where I tracked just the females that essentially I am descended from and related to. Okay, so let's orient you with this a little bit. Obviously, I am here. This is me. Vanessa is my sister. Okay. Obviously, mom is my mom. Okay, so hopefully you can understand how mom branched off. One of her female descendants was me. Another female descendant was my sister Vanessa. Going a little bit further, this is my grandma Marge. My grandma Marge had 2 daughters as well. One of her daughters was Tori, and one of her daughters was my mom. Now, Tori doesn't have any kids, so her little branch there, her little stick, didn't branch out. If my Aunt Tori had kids, it would look similar to this. I would have written Tori right here, and then I would have had some little branches there. But she didn't have any kids, so we're going to leave it there. So, so far we've got me, my sister, my mom, my aunt, my grandma. Okay? And then down here we've got my great-grandma Vukovich. My great-grandma Vukovich also had 2 daughters, one of whom was Mary, and the other was my grandma Marge. Okay, so hopefully you can sort of understand the basis of what I did there. You could do a similar thing like this with your family. I also could have done this with males. I just chose females because I'm female. If it were males, it would be brother, dad, uncle, grandpa, great-grandpa, great-uncle. By the way, I don't know if I said that. That's my great-aunt. Should be my great-aunt. Let's see. Brain fart. I forgot what I was going to say. So, you can sort of see the relationships of things through times. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I already mentioned this, but keep in mind that this person over here is my aunt. So, let's think about who I'm related to and who I'm descended from. Okay, and actually, I'm going to write those down over here. So, related to, and I hope I spelled that right, descended from. We're going to make the distinction between those two things here, because that's an important thing that kind of, I think, trips people up when they're thinking about this whole humans descended from monkeys. Let's think about my Aunt Tori. Would you say that I'm descended from my Aunt Tori? I wouldn't say that I am, because I'm not. Descended from means that you can track a direct line. This line right here is my descendants. These people over here I'm related to, but I'm not descended from them. So, for me, my descendants are my mom, my grandma Marge, and my grandma Vukovich. I'm related to all of them, but for Mary, Tori, and Vanessa, I'm simply related to them. I'm not descended from them. I'm not descended from my sister. She didn't directly lead to me. I'm not descended from my Aunt Tori because my Aunt Tori did not lead to me. I can track my Aunt Tori's descendants. My Aunt Tori's descendants are just Grandma Marge and Grandma Vukovich. My aunt is not descended from my mom. They're sisters. Okay, my mom did not lead to Tori. They're related because they're on the same tree, but they're not descended from one another. So hopefully that makes sense. It's a matter of how these lines track as to who you're descended from. So when people say that we are descended from monkeys, there's a reason why, sorry, I'm trying to open an image on the phone here. There's a reason why I want to make that distinction. We're not descended from monkeys. So here's a similar image to the one I just looked at with my family, but this is obviously a much bigger scope. We're not looking at an individual, we're looking at humans as a species. We've also got on here, turn a little bit so you can read it easier, chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans, gibbons, old world monkeys, new world monkeys, tarsiers, and then lemurs, lorises, and podos. Maybe you know what some of those are. If you don't, you can look them up if you want. Not important right now. Main point is that these things, we're related to all of these things. We're not descended from all of these things, but we are related to all of these things. So, let's sort of break this down a little bit. Now, these lines that I drew here are not necessarily accurate comparing to this. So what I mean by that is on this image, the things up at the top are alive today. And for instance, these little branches, some of these things that were maybe this animal that lived in this time frame is maybe extinct right now. Keep in mind that we've got a time frame over here of millions of years ago. Okay, and this is all modern day. In the case of my family, myself, my sister, my Aunt Tori, my mom, and my Grandma Marge are all alive today, but my great-grandma Wilkovich and my great-aunt Mary have passed away. So the time frame here doesn't match up exactly to how this works, but the relationships do. Okay, so just like I said that I am not descended from my Aunt Tori, here's essentially what would be me and essentially what would be my Aunt Tori. Calling my Aunt Tori a monkey, she would love that. We can't say that we're descended from these monkeys, okay? We can't track a straight downward line between me and the monkey. What we can track is a downward line to a place where we split off, okay? So just like my great-grandma Wilkovich had 2 daughters, one of them was Mary, the other one was my Grandma Marge. Some of my Grandma Marge's descendants were Tori, and then my mom, and some of my mom's descendants were Vanessa and me. We can do a similar thing here. We've got this ancestral primate, okay? Some of its babies became lemurs, lorises, and podos. Some of its babies became everything else. This next branch off, some of these creatures' babies became tarsiers. Some of the babies became all this other stuff. Let's hop over to the monkeys and humans area. This is our, basically right here, was our last common ancestor between old world monkeys and ourselves. So if we track this over to the side, that was about 25 million years ago that monkeys and humans last were directly had the same exact ancestor. Okay, some of those creatures evolved into old world monkeys. Some of the creatures developed all these things. Some became humans, some became orangutans, some became chimps, etc. Okay, so we're not descended from monkeys. We're descended from this common ancestor. However, we are related to monkeys because both monkeys and humans have this common ancestor. We both branched off of the same bit of this little family tree. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. The cool thing about this too is it shows what you're most related to. Now, looking at my family tree, I look a decent bit like my sister because we're pretty closely related. Our genetics both came directly from my mom. Now, I don't look quite as much like my Aunt Tori because we're related further back. I don't even know what my great Aunt Mary looked like, but I imagine that I don't look very much like her at all because we're pretty distantly related. We're related, but there's a little ways back there, okay? Similarly, we're more closely related to things that we more recently branched off from, Okay, so we're more closely related to chimpanzees because we only branched off from them roughly 5 million years ago. Okay, that's where that branch happened. Gorillas was maybe more like 9 million years ago. The old world monkeys, like we said, was like 25 million years ago. New world monkeys, that would be like 45 million years ago. So sort of the further we get away from something at the top, the more distantly we're related. But we're all still related. So that's a distinction that I wanted to draw. When people say, are humans descended from monkeys? No, we're not descended from monkeys. Humans are not, sorry about my handwriting, descended from monkeys. But we are related to monkeys. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Okay, if you got any questions on any of this stuff, let me know. Again, this is something that you're going to be encountering in high school biology, so I want to try to make sure you've got at least some bit of a background there. If you got any questions on this, anything not making sense, go ahead and let me know. If there's any realizations that you want to add to the comments below, go for it. I've seen some good ones that people have made connections between like Pokemon and evolution and stuff, which is okay. In Pokemon, I think an individual evolves. Anyway, that's a little bit off topic. If you got something good out of this, put it in the comments below. And don't forget, there will be a couple of short questions in Canvas for you to answer. And that's it for today. We will see you tomorrow.